So this final tutorial on the challenges and opportunities of changing population is based on the demographic dividend and the ways in which population could be considered as a resource when contemplating possible futures. So that a case study is needed here, and the chosen case study is South Korea. So the demographic dividend can be defined as the accelerated economic growth that can happen as a country's population age structure changes, together with investments in health, education, economic policy, and governance. Now, it's important to realize that there's a small window of opportunity for a demographic dividend. And it occurs when you've had that surge in youth within your population. So that surge produces a bulge within the active population. And this comes at a time before you've achieved the high life expectancies that we see with the most developed countries. And so you have this very large active population without the burden of care required for that aging population. So that gives the kind of the budgetary freedom for governments to invest in health, and education, and economic policy, and improve governance. So firstly, I just want to mention sub-Saharan African countries right now. I think there's a real opportunity for them to capitalize on a demographic dividend. They have that big, bulging youthful population, but life expectancy across Africa is 62. So they still don't have that kind of really old, greying society with that burden of care and that cost to them. So right now, sub-Saharan African nations are entering a demographic dividend. The difference with South Korea is that they're at the latter stage of that demographic dividend. So they are entering a point of aging, but the burden of that aging population is not quite on them. So South Korea is a great example because you've got a lot more evidence present to show that investment in health and education and economic policy, and see the data already in front of you. So South Korea has increased its active population from 53% in 1965 to 73% today. And this real growth in the active population, you can visibly see it there on its population pyramid. And you can also see as well that narrow, sharp tip of its aging population. So it's still not column-shaped at the top. So the burden of care for that group is still not at its greatest. So there was room for investment within their budgets. And this has come along, and they've reduced gender gaps within education and the workplace. They've lowered fertility rates and child mortality rates. The evidence shows really high growth in GDP, foreign direct investment. This has resulted in economic growth and this great surge of political stability. And across its country, reductions in crime and corruption. So an absolute mature case study of a demographic dividend. So please go back to that site, check out the hexagonal card sort for all the evidence you need. And also bear in mind that we're looking at two different aspects here. South Korea coming to the latter stages of its demographic dividend, sub-Saharan African nations just beginning one.